Happy Monday, everyone. We've got just a quick one here. I'm going to go through all of the games that we'll get in this round one. Hopefully, as they come, we'll see how we go with that one. I'll try and review all of them. And then just going to go through some looping as well with my team and just kind of discuss what I'm potentially doing and how to do these certain things with vice captaincy loops, with loops for your emergency players as well, because I've got literally all of that in one hit. So if you watch this video, you should know how to do it all, and hopefully you can get your team set up correctly to be able to do that. And we'll start with going through that first game, which the Stars actually put up half a fight, to be fair, 146, and off the back of a couple of decent innings there, especially Tom Curran's innings. That was great. And then Stoinis did a pretty solid job there, getting 37. Unfortunately for him, and surprisingly, no strike rate bonus in that one, which is pretty tough, and then didn't bowl. So that was the big one, Stoinis not bowling. The second big one was actually Webster not bowling as well and batting 6. And I was hoping that, yes, he'd bat 6, and against this attack of Richardson and Behrendorff to kick things off, he'll probably be in fairly early. And that's exactly what happened. And it didn't really matter, to be honest, that he batted 6. It was more the issue that he didn't bowl. Him batting 6 was 19 off 12 or something at the time before he got strangled down the leg side to Richardson, who I do own in my side. But I was just hoping for at least that one more, get that strike rate bonus of 20 or 25, and at least get us off on the right foot with a break even of 43 in that first game. Yes, that was pretty tough on that front to see Webster go down for 19 and not get the strike rate bonus and then not bowl. So they're probably the big two standout headlines, I say, from the Stars, is that Stoinis and Webster both didn't bowl. And I imagine it sounds like from CA, Cricket Australia, that the directive was for him to not bowl. So that's pretty frustrating. And what's also frustrating, and no, not being mean to Couch, for example, but Stoinis bowls for Australia in the T20s. Like, that means he's one of the more important players, bats in the middle order and bowls good overs for Australia. And it's very similar to that with Hardy. Hardy bowls more overs for Australia than he does for his club team. And I just think there was times there where, Stoinis' experience would have been ideal to try and maybe pick up a wicket there when they were bowling to Connolly and Ashton Turner, but wasn't to be. So hopefully he does get some bowling and hopefully he's fit and okay, because he didn't bowl in the trial game either. And the Webster one's a worry. I think we'll have to sell him after this, following on watching last night. If he's going to be batting 6, hopefully he can score a few more runs. Like, it was looking really good, but hopefully he can score a few more runs in that second game and get us a pretty respectable sort of 70 or 80 across the 2 games, and I'll be happy enough with that. Hamish McKenzie with the 11, I think he bowled fairly well, and he actually got dispatched a little bit by Hobson in that final over that he bowled, and I'm just glad that he got the 4 and he got that opportunity to try and get some extra bonus points with a wicket or 2 in that last over, but wasn't to be. And I think he bowled well enough, especially in that first 3 overs, to earn a spot in this side. And I do think they'll probably use him, and they'll use Osama Mir as a really good little combination there. He just happened to be bowling to some of the guys in form when he's bowling to Connolly, and Ashton Turner's just so good. We'll get to him a little bit later. But in terms of bat-only guys, prayers are up for Hilton Cartwright there with his neck injury. Thankfully, it sounds like nothing serious, which is great. But yeah, a good dose of whiplash, that's for sure. And hopefully he's all okay. But the bat-only guys, you saw Webster there with 19, Tom Rogers with 24, Harper with 11 with 1 catch, and then Joe Clark with just the 1 catch as well, picking up a duck off 9 balls. That was great. Well, great if you're a Richardson owner, for sure. Not good if you were a Clark owner. So that was the worry with them coming up against a really strong side in the Perth Scorchers, that their bowling wouldn't hold up. And that's where having a bunch of those guys through the middle, and that's why I thought having, Webster at 6 was probably going to be ideal, and it almost paid off. But Curran was the man. 100 in this one. He absolutely crushed him with the bat, especially as soon as they got straight to him. He just popped it over fine leg for 6. Some tremendous shots there. So he picked up a 30-odd with the bat, with a lovely 25 for strike rate bonus, and then 1 wicket with a really good economy rate, which was awesome there. And just check out the all stats, guys, just to show you how things work. With Curran there, he picked up the 1 wicket. He got the batting strike rate bonus, and he got the economy rate bonus of 10 there, with Richardson and Behrendorff both getting the 20. which is between 4 and 5 and over there for that one. So that was really, really cool for all of those guys to get that. And then they get the dot ball bonus as well, where Curran got 8, Richardson got 13, along with Berendorf and Morris 10. So yeah, it's a really cool score for Curran. And I'll show you how to vice captaincy loop him in as captain there, which, if there wasn't any vice captaincy loop, we would have captained him straight out. And apparently only 13% of people have vice captained or captained Curran in that first game. So that's a massive leg up for those that have. Some people might have vice captained Stoinis in that one, and potentially Webster as well. I just found it too difficult to vice captain Webster once he was named at 6 with the bat, even if he was to bowl. I was still okay to pick him, but not to vice captain him in that one there. So Stoinis at that price, the 37, is solid enough. We would have hoped that he bowled, obviously, but good to see that he actually looked like he was batting really well and continuing that form. But for the Scorchers side, if you picked any of Richardson, Connolly, and Berendorf, probably Ashton Turner as well, I think you would have been pretty happy. But if you had a Finn Allen, a Jennings, or a Hurst, Hurst 24 with a couple of catches was helpful, but all those guys getting out early with the bat. How good was that shot from Finn to then get absolutely rissoled the next ball from Milne, who I think bowled really well. And if you do own Adam Milne, Couch or Siddle, it wasn't the worst game possible against close to the best team in the comp. They've all got a second game, so we'll discuss them more at the end of the week with what to do with certain guys from those teams. But Richardson, Connolly, and Berendorf, if you owned any of them, you were very, very happy. And I'll discuss how we can emergency loop those guys, and they're obviously going to be targets for next week as well. And then potentially like Inglis or any of those guys that managed to get their spot back in the side. But I just wanted to talk about Connolly. Obviously bowling a couple overs, he's great in the field. The running between the wickets from him and Turner was absolutely sublime. Couldn't fault them at all. They were absolutely perfect in that section, and we're able to build a really good partnership without taking any risks. Especially Turner, there was no risk in his game, and Connolly had a couple of really nice shots with some risk in there, but built a really nice 60 odd for him and picked up 102. So he's awesome, and Berendorf, it just looks so hard to face, man. So there you go. Let's go in and have a look at how we do some looping. The final thing to discuss in terms of players is Hassan Khan. It looks like with the England-New Zealand tests likely to be over by day 4, it's expected that Bethel will be available for that second game of this round, which means Hassan Khan is the replacement player for Bethel. I actually thought Hassan was going to be around for longer, so sorry if I misled anyone on that one, but you still have the time to trade him out. And I was looking to captain him if Curran didn't do well. So now that Khan is likely only to be here for one game of the first round, but even if he was, we were to get lucky and get him for the 2 games, you'd have to sell him straight after with Bethel returning. So I think we do have to sell him now. I did think it was a little bit longer. Thought we might have had him for 3 or 4 rounds, but it wasn't to be. Info that I had wasn't great enough. But so Khan will have to be moved on. And at the moment, I'm finding it very, very difficult to get loopers that are actually here to play. Like, we are likely to get Akil Hassan from round 2, but he's 190 odd K, and it's very, very hard to get someone like that. And for me right now, there's a couple of options. You've obviously got Salzman. You have a man named Liam Scott from Adelaide. And if Jordan Buckingham actually isn't named to play in this first game, I think I'm going to go Buckingham. But at the moment, we're going to trade Khan out, and we're going to bring Liam Scott in. So he's a dual position guy that's not going to be playing anytime soon. So I actually would like someone that's playing soon. But at that price point, it's very, very difficult to do so. And there's a few guys in sort of that mid-range, Renshaw and all those guys, but they're playing. So we're going to lock him in as a purchase. So we'll save that one. And we're actually going to pop him as our captain. So if Scott isn't named, he's going to be our captain for that round. And what that means is I'm going to get the vice captaincy from Tom Curran. It won't be displayed in any projections or anything like that right now, just for the fact that he could play, obviously. But once he's not named and once that game starts, he'll that double for Tom Curran will come in there for sure. So Liam Scott, what that allows me to do is get the vice captaincy score from Curran if Scott doesn't play, but it also gives me Richardson's score as well. So it's a two hits in one, which is really, really ideal. Now, we love that these boys got great scores, and I'm so happy with my start, apart from obviously, the Webster one's a bit annoying with that break even 109. Hopefully he scores well in round 2. But with Connolly and Richardson both on my emergencies, I do need to have 2 non-players to get their scores. And I do have Liam Scott in there now, but I do have Jake Doran, who I can move down as well, and I'd have to get another keeper. The problem with this is that I'd have to drop one of my players in my starting team. And at this point, it's between Jack Edwards, who's on the single but has a double in round 3, Josh Brown, I think, given he's, bat only, could do really well, could have a bit of a shocker, and then Tom Rogers. So they're the 3 that I'm kind of thinking between to potentially use as that loop there. So I could, if I went Rogers out, I could just move like an Overton down and bring Doran down, and I think I'd be getting like a Josh Philippi would be how that looks. But that's where I'm looking at the moment. So let's just say I traded Edwards out, I moved Doran down to batsman, and then I bring in Josh Philippi, who would actually just sit in my bench emergency for my wicketkeeper. And then the plan going forward with that one is that I'd eventually trade out Seifert, whether it's next round, in round 2, or in round 3 with their bye. And obviously Philippi comes in and I get another double round player for round 3, which is cool. If I am replacing Edwards, that just means it's a straight swap. So I don't get an extra double game player. I just replace him with Philippi. But I do really want Edwards longer term. But again, do I bring him in next week or the week after if I sold him? And if I was to move on from a Brown or a Rogers, I'm just missing out on a double game player this week, hoping that Edwards does really well and kind of covers the score that Brown and Rogers could get on a double or close to it. And just looking at the role, Edwards has the role of bowling good overs and batting probably 6, but we'll see where he's named tonight. And then, Brown's just bat only, and then Rogers is just bowl only. He's unlikely to bowl. So maybe sacrificing the double game player this week to get an extra one in round 3. Lucky enough that I've got 200s on the board in my emergencies to do so. So if I was to do that, then I have 151k in the bank. If I was to trade Edwards for Philippi, I'm basically keeping 150k in the bank. If I was to trade Brown or Rogers, I'd get an extra 20k in the bank. Lose 20k in the bank down to 130. But that still gives me plenty of cash left over to be able to get to the great man Matt Short next week if things suffice and things go well. So I think that's probably where I'm going to end up, is just bring in Philippi and have him as my wicketkeeper going forward once I sell Seifert, and bring Doran back up into the emergency slot. Keep it really, really simple and go from there. So that's the team. Nothing changed apart from Hassan Khan, which I was going to have to move on anyway. And I was like, I'll just wait until this game's done and then make my decisions once we've seen how Connolly and Richardson and Curran go. So that's where I'm at in my team. Let me know where you guys are at in the comments. Let me know if you had a good start or if you had a bit of a rough on with I was going to say Sammy Walker, Sam Harper, and Joe Clark and these types of guys. So good luck with tonight's, guys. Remember to make sure your teams are all set by 7:15. And I wish you luck with selecting, if you didn't have Curran as VC, I wish you luck with selecting your Fraser McGurks and Seiferts and Fergus O'Neills and these types of guys there.